I stumble into the kitchen, the weight of exhaustion pulling me down. My hands shake as I reach for the carton of juice, the pressure of the day ahead sinking in. The plastic slips from my fingers and crashes to the floor, sending amber liquid splattering across the cold tile. For a moment I stand there, frozen, the mess a blurry reminder of the chaos to come. Then my 5-year-old's frantic scream slices through the quiet morning. I feel the world tilt, a wave of dizziness hitting me like a freight train. My knees buckle and the ground comes up too fast, a hard slap of coldness against my skin. My breath is shallow, my pulse pounding in my ears. I hear shuffling, distant voices. The paramedics are here, their hands on me, lifting me up. But I can't focus, can't make sense of anything. "Who do we call?" one of them asks. My mind spins. Who? There's no one. No one but my children, wide-eyed and clutching each other, too young to understand what's happening. I can't leave them. I blink, and then I'm in the hospital, the sterile smell choking me. A doctor leans over, his voice soft but urgent. "You have internal bleeding from a ruptured cyst. We need to operate immediately." He pauses, then adds, "You can't bring your kids into the operating room. You need someone, now." I clutch the phone in my trembling hands, my heart racing, and press it to my ear. The beeping of the machines around me is a constant reminder of the urgency of the surgery I am about to undergo. My mind is foggy, but one thing is clear: I need help. I dial my parents' number, the thought of their comforting voices a fragile hope. When my mother answers, it's not the warm tone I expect. Her voice is cold, edged with irritation. "What now?" she snaps, as though I've interrupted something important. "I'm getting ready for vacation. Can this wait?" I feel a sharp pang of disbelief, but I push it down. "Mom, I need you. I'm in the hospital. I'm about to have surgery. I don't have anyone to look after the kids. Can you come?" There's a long pause before she sighs heavily. "You should have thought about that before. You chose this life. You wanted to be a single mother." Her words are like ice, slicing through me. Just then, my father's voice cuts in, blunt and unsympathetic. "You're always in some kind of mess, aren't you? We are not your safety net." His tone is matter of fact, the finality of his words sending a wave of shock through me. "Please, I'm about to go under anesthesia. The kids—" I try to explain, my voice shaky, but he interrupts me. "We're retired now. We're done. You are not our responsibility." The weight of their rejection crashes over me, suffocating. The phone feels heavy in my hand, and before I can say anything more, the call ends. The silence in the room is deafening. My children sit on the edge of the bed, wide-eyed and scared, not understanding what just happened, what they just heard. Neither do I. The memories flood back, each one a painful reminder of the pattern that has defined my relationship with my parents. I think about my graduation, an achievement that should have been a celebration of years of hard work, but they didn't come. I remember the empty seat in the audience, the absence of their pride. I told myself it didn't matter, that I didn't need their approval, but deep down, the sting never went away. Then there was my wedding. I had hoped, foolishly, that this would be different. But instead of celebrating with me, they complained about the distance, the travel, the inconvenience. They showed up late, and even then, they barely made it through the ceremony. It was as if I was just another obligation they had to check off the list. When I had my children, I thought things might change. Maybe becoming a mother would soften them, or at least give them a reason to care. But even that was a disappointment. They came to visit, stayed for only an hour, and left because the babies were too loud. I can still hear my mother's voice in my head, the way she said it like an excuse, a dismissal. Too loud, as if their cries were a burden, not a blessing. And yet, I always tried. I always gave. Even after my husband died, I sent them money every month, $2,500, a sum that I could barely afford but felt obligated to give. I told myself they needed it for their retirement. I thought, if I show them I care, maybe they'll see me, maybe they'll love me. But there was never a thank you, never any acknowledgement, not once. The shame washes over me now, as I lie here in this sterile hospital room, alone, with nothing but the quiet beeping of the machines to keep me company. How could I have continued to support people who never treated me like their daughter? I realize, with painful clarity, how deep that wound runs, how I've been giving, and never receiving. All my life, I've been chasing approval from the people who should have loved me unconditionally, but all I got was silence, distance, and rejection. And now, even in my greatest need, they're still the same. As the phone call ends, the silence in the room feels heavier than before. I sit there, stunned and numb, my heart still pounding with the echo of their cold rejection. And then, from the corner of the room, I hear a soft voice. "I'm sorry you had to go through that," a nurse says gently, her voice kind, her presence almost like a balm. I hadn't even noticed her standing there until now. She's been quiet, watching, but now she steps forward. I overheard, "You don't have to do this alone." I glance up at her, the fog of exhaustion still clouding my thoughts. She's standing there with a sense of calm that I can't quite grasp right now. Her name is Carmen, and she tells me she knows someone, Diane, a neighbor who's fostered many children and works with families in crisis. "She's great with kids," Carmen assures me. "She'll take care of them while you're in surgery." I hesitate, my chest tight with uncertainty. I don't know this woman. I don't know anything about her. My mind screams with the fear of the unknown, but my heart knows I have no other choice. I can't leave my children alone, and I can't go under anesthesia without knowing they'll be safe. Reluctantly, I nod. Within an hour, Diane arrives. She's calm, warm, exuding a trustworthiness I desperately need right now. She kneels to my children's level, her voice soft, her eyes kind. "Hi there," she says, introducing herself gently. "I'm here to take care of you while your mom rests." The children, still scared but drawn to her kindness, cling to her immediately. They don't know her, but in that moment, they sense something in her that feels safe. They follow her every move, their tiny hands reaching for her as if she's a lifeline. I sign the paperwork, my hands trembling as I do, and they begin to wheel me toward the operating room. My heart aches, but something inside me feels different. I'm not begging for love anymore. There's a peace I haven't known before. Maybe, just maybe, I don't need to chase it anymore. The surgery was successful, but the recovery felt like an endless slog through thick mud. Every movement, every breath sent sharp bursts of pain through my body. It was slow, exhausting. But with each passing day, I could feel myself inching closer to some semblance of strength. I focused on that, on the healing, on the hope that things would get better. And as if to soften the edges of my pain, Diane kept showing up. Every day, without fail, she brought the kids to visit. She brought them food, laughter, and most of all, comfort. She read to them, their small faces lighting up with every page she turned. She fed them, listened to their little stories, wiped away their tears when the weight of the situation pressed down too hard. And when they weren't with her, she sent me pictures and videos of their laughter, of the way they clung to her as though she were already a part of their lives. It was the kind of attention I never got from my parents. There was something about Diane's consistency, the gentleness in her actions, that made me feel safer than I ever had when my parents visited. They'd come and go, always rushing, always distant. But Diane stayed. She was present. She was calm. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I could truly trust someone to care for my children. One quiet evening, when the pain of the recovery was particularly heavy, I reached for my phone. The hospital room felt too small, too suffocating, so I distracted myself with a simple task, checking my banking app. As I opened it, my finger hovered over the automatic transfer set for the next day, $2,500 to my parents, the same amount I'd been sending every month for years without fail. The weight of it hung in the air, thick and suffocating. Without a second thought, I cancelled it. Just like that. No warning. No explanation. The decision felt final, liberating, and terrifying all at once. A wave of guilt tried to rise within me, but it was quickly replaced with something else. Relief. I opened my messages, my hands shaking as I typed the words. I will no longer be sending money. My children and I are not your burden. Do not contact me again. I hit send. The moment the message left my phone, a weight lifted off my shoulders. It was done. The calls start within hours. Dozens of missed calls, voicemails, and texts. My phone buzzes incessantly, its screen lighting up with my parents' name again and again. At first, the messages are confused, almost pleading. Why are you doing this? What's going on? But it doesn't take long for the tone to shift. Guilt creeps in. We counted on that money. How could you take that away from us? Then, full-blown rage. You are ungrateful. We raised you. Not once do they ask how I'm doing after the surgery. Not once do they ask about my children. The only thing they care about is the money that I've been giving them without question, without regard for my own needs. I read each message calmly, but with each one, my stomach tightens. Old habits, like a deep-seated need to please, start to stir inside me. The weight of their disappointment presses on my chest, threatening to pull me back into the old patterns. I can feel it, the guilt, the shame, crawling up from the pit of my stomach. For a brief moment, I wonder if I've made a mistake, if I've done the wrong thing. Maybe this was too harsh. Maybe I should have explained myself, tried to soften the blow. But then Diane's voice cuts through my thoughts. She's standing beside me, watching me read the messages, her expression understanding but firm. You did the right thing, she says quietly, her words grounding me. You are breaking a cycle. Her words sink in, and I hold on to them like a lifeline. Diane, who has nothing to gain from my decision, yet is the first person to offer me support. It's hard to believe, but for the first time in my life, I feel like I've done something for myself. Not for them, not for anyone else, just for me. As my body begins to heal, the pain slowly subsides, and in its place, there are moments of peace. Each day feels like a small step forward, and with each step, I feel a little lighter. I watch Ava and Micah laugh with Diane, their smiles wide and unburdened, their giggles filling the room. They have been through so much, loss, fear, uncertainty, but they are still full of love, still eager to give and receive joy. The sight of them, so carefree, fills me with a warmth I haven't felt in a long time. Diane has become a constant presence in their lives, a steady hand in a world that has often felt like it's spinning out of control. And in the process, she has begun to feel like family. Not because of blood, but because of effort, because of the way she shows up for us day after day. Her kindness is not a fleeting gesture, it's a commitment, and that's something I've never known. I think back to my own childhood, to the quiet, lonely nights when I sat at the piano, my fingers poised over the keys waiting for applause that never came. The recitals were always the same, me performing for an empty seat. I would play my heart out, but there was no one there to hear it, no one there to clap. My parents, absent as always, never bothered to show up. And even though I told myself it didn't matter, I carried that emptiness with me for years. Now, as I watch my children thrive in the presence of someone who truly sees them, truly cares for them, I feel the weight of that loss. And I cry. Not from the physical pain of my body still recovering, but from a deeper grief. I grieve for the little girl I used to be, for the child who was always waiting for love that never came, and I grieve for the woman I am becoming, the one who is finally learning to give love to herself, to choose herself. It's both heartbreaking and liberating all at once. I am finally released from the hospital, the walls of the sterile room fading as Diane drives me home. The familiar sights of the city pass by in a blur, but everything feels different now, lighter somehow. When we arrive, the kids burst out of the car and run into the apartment, their laughter ringing through the air like music. For the first time in what feels like forever, they are smiling, truly smiling, like children. Again, free from the fear and worry that has clouded their little hearts. As the days go by, I begin therapy. I don't rush to fix everything all at once. I don't feel the need to push myself to be better immediately. Instead, I allow myself to feel, to sit with the pain, the relief, and the unexpected moments of joy. There's no timeline for healing, and for the first time, I am okay with that. One evening, as I sit on the couch, a message pops up on my phone. It's from my younger sister, Julia. The text reads, "Mom and Dad said you had surgery. Why is everyone so angry about money? What really happened?" I stare at the message, the words sitting there, heavy and loaded. For a brief moment, I consider responding, explaining everything, laying it all out for her, but I don't. Instead, I put the phone down, the weight of it falling away. I stand up, walking over to where my children are playing on the floor. I join them, and as I sit down, the world feels more centered, more whole. I don't need to answer, at least not today. The answers will come when they need to. For now, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, with them.